All right. Hey, everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dig into some fascinating health info.
Today, we're tackling something that might seem kind of basic, but we're going to go deeper than usual. The 10 worst foods for your health.
Yeah, it's easy to make lists like this, but we're not about just bad and good labels.
Right. We're using this video from HealthWorks. It's all about practical advice
Mm.
to see why these foods are on the naughty list.
And more importantly, what we can eat instead to actually make a difference.
So first up, I bet most of us have a love-hate relationship with these chips.
Oh, yeah, the classic crunchy snack. But they're kind of the poster child for empty calories, really.
Totally. So what makes them so bad? I mean, just potato, right?
Well, it starts with often using low quality of potatoes,
Right.
then deep fried in oils that can cause inflammation in the bottle.
Ah, so it's not just about the calories themselves, but how they're made that's an issue?
Exactly. Plus, tons of salt, almost zero nutrients, preservatives, the whole shebang.
There was this crazy stat in the video. 3 ounces of chips per week. That's over 24,000 extra calories a year.
Whoa.
Yeah, like 7 pounds of fat. It adds up fast.
That's why just cutting back on chips can have a huge impact on your health.
The video mentioned a brand, C8.
Yeah.
They use almond or cassava flour and cook with avocado oil. Much better, huh?
Definitely. Those simple swaps make a world of difference.
Huh?
Portion control is key, too. Don't eat straight from the bag.
Yeah, that's my weakness. What about if you're craving that crunch but want to be healthy?
Homemade veggie chips, zucchini, kale, even sweet potatoes. Baked or dehydrated, they're amazing.
Okay, I'm sold on trying those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Something many consider a staple food. Bread.
Bread. The good, the bad, and the organic.
Right. I've heard you can eat bread and lose weight, but it has to be the right kind.
You've heard right. This is where the organic label gets really important. It ties into glyphosate.
Glyphosate, like
Yeah.
Roundup, the weed killer.
Yep, that's the one. Turns out it can end up in non-organic bread, and it messes with our gut microbiome.
No kidding. So organic bread avoids that. What does glyphosate even do to us?
Oh, it's linked to all sorts of things. It might even be a carcinogen, can mess with fertility, neurological stuff too.
This is getting scary.
There's a Detox Project report from 2022. We'll link it in the show notes. It shows glyphosate levels in foods.
Good to know. So besides organic, any other bread tips?
Sprouted breads are great. Ezekiel, Dave's Killer Bread. Easier to digest, better ingredients.
And I've heard of ancient grains, like einkorn. Is that good for bread too?
Yeah, especially if you're sensitive to gluten. It's a good option to explore.
Okay, noted. But now, let's be honest, we got to talk about baked goods. I know they're not healthy, but how bad are we talking?
Right, so pastries, donuts, all that jazz. It's not just the sugar and bad fats, though those are a problem.
Oh no, there's more.
Many use an ingredient called bromate for texture, and it can really mess with your thyroid.
Bromate. Never heard of it. What's the issue?
It disrupts thyroid function by binding to iodine receptors, slower metabolism, fatigue, even menstrual irregularities.
Whoa, that's a lot of side effects. So how do we know if something has bromate?
Gotta read those labels. Look for potassium bromate or brominated vegetable oil, that's BVO, in baked goods and drinks.
Drinks too.
Yeah, some citrus-flavored ones, sports drinks. Sneaky.
Okay, label reading is officially a must. What about good breakfast swaps then? If not pastries, what then?
Ezekiel bread with avocado is a classic. Egg-based recipes are good too. Lots of options out there.
Perfect. I could work with that. Now, sticking with carbs. Pasta. It always gets demonized, but is it that bad?
It depends. You can totally enjoy pasta healthily, but you gotta be smart about it.
Like, what kind of pasta should we be choosing?
Organic wheat is a good start, or
Yeah.
chickpea pasta, brown rice. There are tons of options.
Okay, so the pasta itself isn't the problem. It's what we do to it.
You got it. Those creamy sauces, like Alfredo, are calorie bombs, and they make you want to eat. So much.
True. What's a good alternative then?
Low sugar marinara is your friend. Vitamin A, lycopene, vitamin K. It's surprisingly nutritious.
I never thought of marinara as healthy.
It can be. Or even simpler. Olive oil and salt. Simple, flavorful, and good for you.
All right, pasta night is officially back on the menu. But now, for real serious stuff. Fried foods, especially fish and chicken.
Yeah, fried food is generally a big no-no, but fried fish and chicken are especially bad news.
Why those specifically?
Often, they're using lower quality protein than breading it, deep frying in bad oils. It's a recipe for trouble.
The video mentioned a study. Baked or broiled fish reduced heart failure risk by 30%.
That's right, but those who ate fried fish once a week, their risk went UP by 48%.
That's huge EE. Why is frying so bad for our hearts?
The high heat creates trans fats, which clog your arteries. Plus, all those calories and bad fats don't help either.
So what are our good alternatives? If we can't fry, how do we cook fish and chicken?
Baking, grilling, roasting, air frying is great too. And if you want to be fancy, try sous vide. It's super healthy.
All right, I'm adding sous vide to my cooking vocabulary.
It's a game changer.
So we've covered some major food groups already, but what about processed meats? I mean, I love a good hot dog every now and then.
I hear ya, those savory snacks are tempting. But nutritionists pretty much agree processed meats are bad news.
Really? I knew they weren't health foods, but how bad are we talking?
Well, one major concern is colon cancer risk. Processed meats have been linked to a higher chance of developing it.
Wow, that's scary. Why is that? What's in them that causes that?
It's a few things. They often use lower quality cuts of meat, lots of salt, and then there are nitrates and nitrates.
Nitrates, those sound familiar. Aren't those in some vegetables too?
They are naturally occurring in some veggies, but the ones added to processed meats as preservatives are different.
Ah, I see. So how do these added nitrates increase cancer risk?
They can damage the cells in your colon and even your DNA, making it more likely for cancer to develop.
So it's not just about heart health, it's about serious stuff like cancer.
Right. It's really a combo of things.
Yeah.
Poor quality meat, high salt, unhealthy fats.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
So what are some good swaps? If we're ditching hot dogs, what do we eat instead?
Ground beef is a good alternative. Or if you like sausage, try organic chicken sausage, much healthier.
And what about those deli meats? I love a good turkey sandwich.
Instead of deli meat, try using leftover roasted turkey or chicken breast. Tastes better too.
That's a good point. Fresh is usually tastier. All right, so we've done chips, bread, baked goods, pasta, fried stuff, and now processed meats. What's next?
Let's move on to another side dish that's super popular but not so good for us. French fries.
French fries. I guess we all kind of know they're not healthy, but is there anything specifically bad about them?
Besides the obvious, like being deep fried and usually made with not so great potatoes, there's also acrylamide.
Acrylamide, what's that?
It's a chemical that forms when you cook starchy foods like potatoes at high heat, especially when frying.
So the crispy golden brown color is actually a bad sign.
Pretty much. And studies show that acrylamide is a potential carcinogen, could increase the risk of certain cancers.
Wow, okay. So no more French fries? What if we really want that potato-y goodness?
Sweet potato fries are a great alternative. Bake them instead of frying, and they're much healthier.
Good to know. I love sweet potato fries, so that's an easy swap. Okay, I'm curious now. What about ice cream? Everyone's favorite summer treat.
Ah, ice cream. It's delicious, no doubt. But it's definitely not doing your health any favors.
I figured as much. Lots of sugar, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, tons of sugar. Plus, unhealthy fats, artificial flavors, preservatives. You name it.
And what about the dairy itself? I've heard some people have issues with dairy products.
You're right. Dairy can be tricky. Many folks are lactose intolerant, meaning their bodies can't digest the milk sugar properly.
And I've heard some dairy can be addictive. Is that true?
There's some truth to that. Dairy has casein, which releases casomorphins when digested, and those can act like opioids in the brain.
So it's not just willpower. There might be actual addictive properties in there.
Yep. It can make it hard to resist those cravings.
Okay, so ice cream is out, or at least limited. What are some good swaps for that sweet cold treat?
There are lots of great dairy-free ice creams now. Coconut milk, almond milk, cashew milk. They're
Okay.
delicious.
I've seen those at the store. And what about making your own with frozen bananas and stuff?
That's nice cream. It's super easy and healthy. Just blend frozen bananas with some other fruits or flavors.
Nice cream. I gotta try that. And before we move on from dairy, are all dairy products bad? Or are there some good ones?
Some types are better than others. Fermented dairy, like yogurt and kefir, are easier to digest and have probiotics.
Probiotics are good, right? For our gut health.
Exactly. And if you can handle dairy, sheep, and goat milk products tend to be gentler on the stomach than cow's milk.
Good to know. So it's about choosing wisely, even within a category like dairy. Okay, we've talked about a lot of traditional foods, but what about the plant-based trend? Isn't everything plant-based healthy?
That's a common misconception. It's true that eating more plants is generally good, but there's a big difference between whole foods and processed plant-based stuff.
So like a salad is different from a plant-based burger.
Exactly. Whole food plant-based means eating fruits, veggies, legumes, nuts, seeds in their natural forms.
Whereas those processed plant-based foods are trying to imitate meat or dairy. Right?
Yeah. And to do that, they often use a ton of processed ingredients, unhealthy oils, artificial flavors, not so healthy anymore.
So how do we know which plant-based foods are good and which are not?
Check the ingredient list. If it's a mile long and full of stuff you can't pronounce, it's probably not the best choice.
Makes sense. So what are some good plant-based options then if we're not doing fake meat and cheese all the time?
Beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, those are great sources of protein, and of course, load up on veggies.
I love a good veggie stir fry. And what about those plant-based burgers? Are all of them bad?
Some are better than others. Look for brands with shorter ingredient lists using whole foods and minimal processing.
Okay, I'll definitely be paying more attention to those labels now. All right, we're down to our last food culprit. What do we got?
Let's talk about drinks. Specifically, those high-sugar fruit drinks that often get marketed as healthy.
Oh, I know those. They sound so good, all fruity and refreshing. But then you look at the sugar content, yikes.
Yeah, they're basically sugar bombs in disguise. Don't be fooled by those fancy names and added vitamin claims.
So how do we avoid falling for those marketing tricks?
Read the label, always. Pay attention to the sugar content per serving. And remember, whole fruit is always better.
Why is whole fruit better? Isn't it basically the same thing?
Not quite. Whole food has fiber, which slows down sugar absorption and keeps you feeling full, plus more nutrients.
So those fruit drinks are basically just giving us the sugar without the good stuff.
Pretty much. Stick to water, unsweetened tea, or if you want fruit, eat the actual fruit.
Okay, that's solid advice. I think this deep dive has really opened my eyes to some sneaky, healthy foods that aren't so healthy after all.
That's the goal. Awareness is the first step towards making better choices.
Wow, I feel like we've uncovered a whole secret world of food villains lurking in our pantries.
It's definitely eye-opening, isn't it?
But okay, knowledge is power, right? Knowing what to avoid is great, but how do we actually make these changes stick?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's one thing to understand the WHY, but putting it into practice, that's where the rubber meets the road.
So what's the secret sauce? Any tips for making healthy choices a habit, not just a one-time thing?
I think the biggest mistake people make is trying to change everything overnight.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's resolutions, overhaul the whole diet. It never lasts.
Exactly. It sets you up for failure. The key is to start small, build momentum gradually.
Okay, so like baby steps instead of giant leaps.
Exactly. Pick one or two healthy swaps each week and focus on mastering those.
Like what kind of swaps? Give us some examples.
Could be as simple as swapping sugary drinks for water or unsweetened tea,
Oh, that's a good one. I drink way too much soda.
or adding an extra serving of veggies to your dinner plate.
Okay, I can do that. Small changes, big impact over time.
That's it. And the other crucial thing is finding healthy foods you actually enjoy.
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like punishment, right?
Exactly. Experiment with different recipes, try new cuisines, get creative in the kitchen.
Makes sense. The HealthWorks video also talked about meal prepping. That's a game changer, right?
Huge game changer. When you're busy, having healthy meals prepped and ready to go makes all the difference.
No more last-minute takeout decisions because you're starving and have nothing healthy on hand.
Exactly. It takes away the decision fatigue and makes healthy eating the easy choice.
I love that. But what about those cravings? Sometimes you just want those unhealthy foods no matter how hard you try.
Cravings are totally normal. Don't try to ignore them. They're often telling you something.
Really? Like what?
Could be your body needing certain nutrients,
Yeah.
craving sweet stuff. Maybe you need more fruit.
Interesting. So it's not always just willpower. It could be a sign of something missing.
Exactly. Or maybe you need more protein or healthy fats to balance your blood sugar and reduce those cravings.
So a handful of almonds instead of reaching for the chips?
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to indulge sometimes. The key is moderation, not deprivation.
Moderation. That's the magic word. I also think mindfulness plays a big role in healthy eating. Right?
Absolutely. Mindful eating is all about paying attention to your food, savoring each bite, listening to your body.
It's so easy to mindlessly scarf down food while watching TV or scrolling on your phone.
And then we end up overeating without even realizing it.
Guilty as charged.
Yes.
So how do we become more mindful eaters?
Slow down. Put your phone away. Turn off the TV. Really focus on the food in front of you.
Take the time to taste it, appreciate it.
Exactly. It helps you connect with your body's signals of hunger and fullness.
So it's not just about what we eat, but how we eat, right?
Precisely. It's about creating a healthy relationship with food, not just following a set of rules.
That's such an important message. And it reminds me, healthy eating is a journey, not a destination.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about making choices that support your well-being one meal at a time.
And not beating ourselves up if we slip up sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all about progress, not perfection.
Love that. Well, I think this has been an incredible deep dive. We've learned so much.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to share these insights.
And to everyone listening, remember, every step towards a healthier you is worth celebrating.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to seek support if you need it. There are so many resources available.
That's a great reminder. We'll be sure to link some helpful resources in the show notes. Thanks for joining us today.
Until next time.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay healthy.